to just introduce the first item. Ms. Mto.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, colleagues. The first item is for the determination of whether certain facilities require licensing in terms of the Petroleum Pipelines Act of 2003. Mr. Lukele will assist in terms of introducing the three submissions that we got for us to determine whether they require a licensing or they need to be excluded as for the bulk destination of the ER. Thank you. Mr. Lukele, please assist.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everyone. The purpose of this submission is to request the RC to approve that certain storage facilities do not require licensing as provided for by Section 15, subsection 2A of the Petroleum Pipelines Act of 2003, as well as the bulk storage determination made by the Energy Regulator on 26 May 2016. The details of the storage facilities in question are provided in paragraph 20 to paragraph 33 of the submission. And there are 4 facilities under consideration with a combined capacity ranging from 80 cubic meters to 660 cubic meters. And it should be noted, Chair, that SFT Energy has 2 sites as indicated in the submission, hence 4 facilities. And NESA, I must indicate, Chair, that NESA visited these 2 sites of SFT Energy early this year. And then, Chair, the owners of this facility have completed and submitted to NERSA the required bulk storage verification forms and the combined design capacity of each of the 4 storage facilities is below the current bulk threshold of 1,500 cubic meters for petroleum product, excluding LPG, and are not connected to a pipeline or a marine loading facility, and are therefore recommended to be excluded from licensing. It is recommended that the RC approve that the 4 storage facilities listed in paragraph 47 on page 13 do not require licensing. And with that, Chair, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lukele. Members, the submission is before you. Any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements that you may have for the team, please feel free to raise your hand and give your contribution. Members? Mr. Lukele, it seems your submission is very clear to members. I do not see any hand from members in terms of any issue that they may want to raise, and I would then, on that note, request members that we proceed to recommendations. The recommendations are on the green stem, page 13 of 39, under paragraph 47, and the recommendation are that the REC is requested to approve the following storage facility that do not require licensing in terms of the Petroleum Pipelines Act of 2003, and the first one being FFG Fuels Pty Ltd, with a proposed storage facility in Bredasdorp, Western Cape, and its facility of 80 cubic meters. And the second one is Odessa ADOMS Pty Ltd. LTD's proposed storage facility in Pietermaritzburg in KZN, and it's got 161 cubic meters. And STF Energy Pty Ltd, with an existing storage facility in Witbank in Mpumalanga province, and it's got 2 sites, and one of them having 210 cubic meters, and the second site being 660 cubic meters, and the combined sites make up 770 cubic meters. Members, can I, by show of hand, get an indication that you do approve the recommendation as stated in paragraph 47? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Gomete, Ms. Maseti. I also do support the recommendations. We then move on to item 6. Ms. Mtwa, if you can introduce it for the committee members.
Thank you, Chair. This one is the request for the REC committee to approve the engine cost allocation manual, which is submitted in compliance with the requirements of the regulatory reporting manuals. May I request Mr. Sintumule to introduce the submission? Thank you.
Good morning, members and colleagues. First, I want to apologize for, in terms of the dates, the submission was supposed to be presented on the 23rd of October, and that ultimately also impact on the meeting number, which also I do apologize in terms of the numbering there. And also what I want to provide details in terms of the engine cost allocation manual, because you can see when you go through members that it shows that it's revised, which means previously engine, when they provide, they said engine Durban, engine Cape Town. Now in this submission I'm going to present in terms of the CAM, then you find that the facilities for Durban and Cape Town have been combined, and now the reporting lines are the same. So hence you see that the document should be revised. That's where it emanates in that, so that I can at least clarify the members on that note. The purpose of this submission is to request the Regulatory Executive Committee to approve the engine CAM submitted in compliance with the requirements of the RRMs. Engine submitted its CAM on the 21st September 2023 as part of Phase 2 licensee in compliance with the RRMs. The CAM submitted by Engine was evaluated by the regulatory reporting specialist with the support of the RRMs test team. The CAM was deemed to have met the criteria as set out by the cost allocation manual evaluation metrics. In Table 1, there are a detailed analysis of Engine CAM, which are silenced, which I will just provide a snip since I consider the submission have been read by the members. In terms of the outline, the scope of Engine CAM is considered to be complete. This has been discussed in section 1.2 of the CAM documents. Functionalization of cost and categorization of cost. The functionalization and categorization of cost were identified and are discussed in more detail in section 4.1 of the CAM. And related party affiliates, transaction, according to Engine, there are no related party affiliates. Transaction Engine is committed to adhere to the principle of RRM in case of any related party affiliates transaction that may occur in future periods. Any other information? There were no other information from Engine cost allocation manual. And it is recommended that the Regulatory Executive Committee approve the Engine CAM submitted in compliance with the regulatory reporting manuals. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Mr. Sintumule. Members, any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements that you may have for the team? If you do, by show of hand, I'll recognize you. Thank you, Mr. Kumede. You may come in, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson. Firstly, I do support the approval. I just wanted to understand which volume of RRMs is this, because from where I was reading, from looking at this, I mean, it's quite clear what this information or how this thing is laid out, that it follows the actual approach in terms of regulatory accounting systems. So the question as I was reading this is asking myself, okay, which volume is this? And then why is this not employed by everybody else? Because it just looks like it talks to exactly the kind of costing that we, or the kind of costing approach, or rather the cost collection approach that we need. As NERSA, it allows for all of the things that we need to do, the actual functionalization of cost classification and even allocation. So, and if somebody if a company like Engine, which is for whom storage is not even a profit and loss center, it's really a cost center. If they can go to this level of detail, why can't the same kind of volume be applied to everybody else? So I was just, as I was reading this, I got really excited and said, but this is what we are looking for in terms of regulatory accounting. Why is it not applied to everybody? Thanks.
Noted, Mr. Kumete. Ms. Maseti.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, there's a point that was made regarding the combining the Cape Town storage and the other. So I just want to start there to ask about the accurate assignment of cost. Then, how was that dealt with to the extent that there's an issue of combining those storages? I think for me, I would like to understand. Because I'm sure the cost drivers are not the same. And how was that dealt with? If now we're talking about them being combined, if that can be clarified. And I would also understand that the cost drivers are really not the same, but are not emphasized by the team here. With regards to how the allocation was done, what influenced those costs before the allocation, the cost drivers themselves before then to identify the cost and where the costs are supposed to be assigned. I just want to get a clarification on that. And then, Chairperson, there's an issue about the issue of the equitable allocation of cost. Can I understand how was that implemented here in terms of equity, and what is it that was taken into consideration, and which aspects were then considered for purposes of sort of equity or equitable treatment or equitable distribution of cost? Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Mr. Sintumule, you may come in. And from my side, I thought that this was done in terms of volume 1 of RRM. If I'm mistaken as well, please just correct me, but you may come in and respond. Mr. Sintumule, I think you'll be assisted as well by the team from RAR.
Thank you. And also maybe the team which I work in terms of analysis, if I omit certain facts, maybe they might come and also assist on that part. The first question by the regulator member, Mr. Gumede. Yes, the engine cost allocation manual is well detailed. As you are aware that this program called RRM, it's still in pilot phases. We are analyzing, as each licensee submitting to see which one is the best, well detailed. Like, for example, you are giving engine, so you know that as you go and roll out with the RRM with other licensee, you take the one which is best and make it a benchmark type of an exercise to other. So since it's still a rollout, then we are taking notes of those type of detailed information, and which other, and also other issue I must put on the table is that we are also funding in terms of the RRM. We are working with a licensee, let's take engine as big as they are. Then you got your independent wholesalers who are still small in nature, and also in terms of the financial capabilities of providing such details as engine. So we are working with our licensee to improve and get better, but also we've taken note of the detailed nature of the engine cost allocation manual, and then there are certain aspects maybe which we'll take forward and make it a benchmark so that other licensee are also compliant in this nature. Also, it will help us in the issue where Mr. Mkhize also indicate that we must use this one as more, of intelligence nature in terms of the data. Thank you. And also in terms of the...
Just before you move on that one, yes. Mr. Kumete's first question was, in terms of which volume of RRMs is this work being done? If you can just direct him to that so that he can get the answer to that, and then you can move on to the other issues. Thanks.
Okay. This is done in terms of volume 1 of the RRM. Thank you.
You may then proceed to the other.
In terms of the equitable, let me start with the last one, equitable, which was raised by Madam Maseti, because when we roll out what guides us is the RRM volume 1 in terms of which aspects of the cost which should be submitted, but in terms of how detailed the information should be. You find that I think we've received most, even on the RFR's question, maybe from our licensee, to say certain things you let's take on the equitable, submit this information, but we don't expand to say how detailed the information should be. Let's take, for example, under 2.2 of the submission for the cost allocation manual by Engine on the equitable nature, they do indicate that the direct costs are accumulated in the cost center assigned to each facility as they are incurred. Each facility has a cost center or groups or cost centers used in distinguish between different types of activities, which we're talking about: storage and handling, maintenance, and admin. And then we've got what we call indirect costs, which are located at a
Sorry,
profit center.
Chairperson.
Yes.
Chairperson, I would like to follow what he's talking about, so that as he refers us to the pages, where is the document that he's referring us to? Because we've got a covering submission only, and it doesn't have anything. It just says refer to this, and there is no other document except the covering submission, the document that we must approve and consider the decision for.
Thank you, Madam Maseti. When we write submission to obvious through the office of the FTRM, RSU, up to the committee, these documents, even the documents I'm taking you through under the equitable, these documents are attached to and then hence I thought members have access to such. So when we send our submission, all this, including the documents I'm taking you through, is part of the attachment to this committee, to RSC committee. Hence, I was trying to take it through, but I don't know, maybe if I can get guidance from the CEO as to how can you take it forward. But the documents themselves have been attached in that order. Thank you. Chairperson, please, for guidance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sintumule. Maybe Ms. Hutton can assist. Maybe there may have been an omission on this one. The detailed document with the other pages, was it sent to you so that you attach it as well? Because if you look at Annexure 1, Mr. Mateja, we can see you on camera. Annexure 1, there are pages mentioned there. Was there an omission or something? Ms. Hutting, if you can just update members.
Chairperson, I wasn't aware of any omissions, but I'll double check the documents and then I can forward documents to members if required. I'll go check the emails now, Chair. That might have been omitted. The last one might not have pulled through.
Ms. Maseti, I think there may have been an omission in terms of attaching the actual document, because what we have before us, it's a summary of the analysis that was done on the documents that were received by the division, and that document was analyzed, and I think reference were made to the pages, and the omission was the actual document that came from the licensee. However, the analysis that starts on P5 to P11, it's what was contained or what is based on that particular document. And yes, we may have maybe there may have been an error in attaching the document, but the analysis that is there is based on that document, and hence I've asked the secretary to really assist and check in terms of what happened. I can assume that there may have been an omission. Ms. Maseti.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I would not want to waste the committee's time, but I would want to indicate clearly that when the committee is called upon by the board to consider a document for approval, we have to take a decision on that document. This is a covering submission. This covering submission doesn't tell us anything. It just says transparency. It's addressed in page whatever. There is nothing. We can't even go to that page and make anything. So from my side, I won't be in a position to take a decision on something that is not there. What we are called to take a decision on is the cost allocation manual. Hence, even the team members here are saying for this aspect, to see that it complies with RRM's document, you must go to this page of the actual document to see it. So I don't think it will be appropriate for the committee to take a decision on a document, to approve a document that is not there. Thank you.
Noted. Mr. Gumede?
Chairperson, I think from my side, I think the one thing that is quite clear is that this particular CAM, it seems to me like it's probably going to be a benchmark. And then I think let's invest a bit more time on it. It's quite clear that there may have been an oversight in attaching the main document. But for me, I think because it's something that is well articulated and could well form a basis of us going into the future with this, my recommendation is also going to be, if anything, if it's urgent, that we can do it on a round robin, but let's see the document. But I think it's fundamental that we all have sight of that document. From my point of view, I think it's an extremely well articulated regulatory accounting manual that would be something that could be replicated across the board. So let's not lose that the opportunity to get the details behind it. Thanks, Chair. But either way, I think, as I've indicated, I'm pretty happy with it, but I do appreciate where Madam Massetti is coming from, and it is correct that says if we don't have the actual physical document and the pages are referred to even in the submission, and we have not had sight of that, then what exactly are we approving? But I think for me, the more strategic one is saying, I think it does look like this one is extremely well articulated, and I'd really like to actually have sight of it. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for that input, Mr. Gumede. In fact, I was going to ask Dr. Maposa, he must just be ready with this to indicate as to why it's not applicable across all three divisions, because my understanding was that the RRMs were applicable to all three divisions. And I think, Mr. Gumede, you raised it to say that which volume it is, and it was responded to say it's volume 1, and why is it not replicated to other divisions? So Dr. Maposa may come with that particular input, but we note the fact that there may be insufficient information to allow members to really consider the submission. And I'll get Ms. Mtwa or Ms. Sintumula to indicate if it's urgent, so that we can decide as to whether we consider it on a round-robin basis. I see, Ms. Mtwa, I see your hand. May I take the members' input first, and I'll come to you, which is Mr. Mkhize. His hand is up, unless if he allows you to proceed before him. Mr. Mkhize?
He is allowed to proceed. Thanks. And
Thank you.
I'll talk after.
Okay. You may come in, ma'am, Ms. Mtwa.
Thanks, Chair. No, I wanted to come in on the point that we do acknowledge the comments from the members, and we may take it to the next meeting for further discussion. However, I'm informed that on the link where we check the accuracy of the document, I think the document was there. It might have been just omitted on the board pad, and we do apologize for that. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Mkhize, you may come in.
Yes, I was somewhat covered, but I would just then, because I'll be talking from a point, from a privilege point, having looked at this document prior to its serving here. I think if we can just round robin it from the point of view of expeditiously dealing with matters, that would be fine for me, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mkhize. May I make the following to request Miss Hatting, the secretary for the minute, for the committee rather, that when documents are uploaded on the link, let's make sure that they are the same as well as on the board pad, because we can't have a fuller submission on the link and not the same in the board pad, because now it has resulted in members really not being able to engage with the document fully, because in one instance it's done like that, and members tend to really rely on the board pad, and the link was said would be an alternative for them should they have challenges. However,
apologies, Chairperson, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I thought was I on mute all the time? But I was just saying, I'm just requesting your assistance to the committee to ensure that when documents are uploaded on the link, let's make sure that they are the same as well on the board pad, and vice versa, such that we don't deprive individuals from reading or getting the fuller document. And we are where we are now because in the link there's a full document, and yet in the board pad we do not have that. So if you can assist the committee to really check the accuracy of documents that are uploaded, and also to managers to assist in making sure that when we are going to have a submission, review your document on the board pad and the link, and raise any issues with the secretary before the actual meeting. I think that will make our meeting run in a better manner. But on that note, members, I think we would have then to consider this particular submission on a round robin basis, because some of the issues have been raised and we believe the team will respond to them. But the one last point that I want to request Dr. Maposa in this meeting to respond as to why is the volume 1 in terms of what has been presented before us not applying to other regulatory areas, particularly I'm assuming it's electricity. You may come in, Dr. Maposa, so that we can wrap up on this one.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, this particular issue is applicable to all the 3 regulatory divisions. We've got volume 2 that deals with electricity, volume 3 for pipe gas, as well as volume 4 for petroleum pipelines. And we've got then the volume 1 that is that covers the administrative issues around the RM project, and it's applicable across the board. I suspect that the electricity team hasn't submitted a CAM submission for quite some time now. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, can you kindly engage the person, because as I understand, each division should be having an RRM staff dedicated to really ensuring the implementation of the RRMs within their divisions. So engage that particular individual, and also that individual, yourself and the FTRM can really have an engagement so that we can proceed and get reports on this from the electricity side, as you have indicated. So let's just try and refine that particular process from the electricity side as well on the RRMs. I will just take the member's hand so that we can close on this matter. Mr. Gomete, you may come in, sir.
Thanks, Chairperson. I was going to just request that I really appreciate the conversation on this, because a lot of the things that are captured here for me, the essence of regulatory accounting. So if the offer from RAR to engage, I really appreciate that, and as soon as possible, please, because in other engagements, it's really been, the focus has been more on the procedural side, but I'd really like to engage on this, because this for me is the essence of regulatory accounting. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Kumete, and I think I have highlighted that as well. And also, Dr. Maposa, if you can ensure that we also have that appointment through the FTRM of a dedicated person in ELR on ELR-related implementation processes of the RRMs. I see Zach, I want to close on this matter, but you can come in since you are the main person within RAR dealing with RRMs. You may come in, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps just to clarify the CAMs, yes, each licensee is required to submit a CAM, and that is for the first time when they're filing with the energy regulator, they must submit the CAM. And then thereafter, if a licensee is only required to submit a CAM if there's a change to the CAM, if they amend their CAM, then they must submit an updated CAM. So everybody must submit a CAM first time for filing, and then when they change it. That's the bottom line. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Zach. But please engage the FTRM on this as Team RAR and see how we proceed on the electricity side. On that note, members, the input from members have been noted, and I would want to request that members give an indication that they do support that this submission be considered on a round-robin basis, and hopefully with a two-pager that highlights some of the issues already raised so that members can be directed to where they are covered in that particular round-robin. By show of hand, members, can I get an indication of your support that the submission be noted and that it will be considered for approval on a round-robin basis? Thank you, Mr. Gumede, and I do support that. I do not see... Oh, thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Ms. Masetti? I think you support that. Thank you. Thank you. Please, colleagues, Ms. Hatting, make sure that if the full document is attached in the round robin. We will then, on that note, members, proceed to item 7, which is still under Petroleum Pipelines Regulation. Ms. Mtoa, may you kindly introduce item 7 to members and all those that are attending this meeting. Over to you.
Thanks, Chair. This item is to request the RSC to note the PPSA's regulatory financial report for the period of 1 January 2022 to 31 December 2022 for its facilities of Cape Town, East London Airport, George Airport, and Pretoria, and is submitted in compliance with the requirements of the RRMs Volume 1. Thanks. Mr. Mahlangu will take us through the silent parts of the submission. Thank you.
Thank you, EM. I'll take the submission as read. According to Section 2.6.6 of the RRMs Volume 1, annual audited RFRs should be submitted to NESA within 4 months after the financial year end of the licensing. However, BPSA submitted its RFRs on 23 May 2023, 4 months and 3 weeks after its financial year end. The RFRs were declared incomplete due to the engagement letter not being concluded between NESA and BPSA auditors. Various engagements took place between the three parties in ensuring that AUPs are concluded and subsequent submission of the RFRs. The main cause of the delay in the finalization of the engagement letter was that BPSA auditors expressed concern with the inclusion of NESA as a signatory to the engagement letter. BPSA auditor stated that auditing ethics and standards forbid the inclusion of a third party in its dealings with its primary client. However, NESA indicated that regulator standards provide an exception considering that NESA is a custodian of RRMs, and by default, the approval of the engagement letter by NESA is not tantamount to a violation of auditing ethics or standards. It is therefore recommended that RSC notes BPSA's RFRs for the period 1 January 2022 to 31 December 2022, which are submitted in compliance with the requirements of the RMs Volume 1. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mahlangu. Members, any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements for the team? Maybe from my side, because I often sign on behalf of NESA as a signatory to this audit process, I take it that this has been finalized. Mr. Mahlangu would not have a problem going into the future when we have to sign the engagement letters with the auditors that are going to audit some of our licensees. I take it has been resolved with BPSA, because there are other auditors that want a lengthy authentication process. From my side, we're still trying to refine that. I just want to get an indication that this one with BPSA has been sorted out. Oh, I see Mr. Gumede. Let me take Mr. Gumede as well. Mr. Gumede.
Thanks, Chair. It's not an RFR question per se, but on table 1 of the approved storage tariffs, I wasn't quite sure. Take Cape Town, for instance. You've got the products that diesel, petrol, jet, and IP. I can see jet and IP and diesel as two separate things. Are we saying that the tariff for all of these facilities in Cape Town is that number there. I assume it's a public number, which is 41.87. But I'm just not too. I was just it's just a question of clarity, Chair. Is whether, and are we also, when we say Cape Town, are we talking the Montague Gardens, or are we talking about the airport tanks? It just does not come. It's not quite clear to me. I was just asking. I'm just simply saying it doesn't affect my decision on the other files, but it's more just a question of clarity. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gumede. Mr. Mkhize.
Thanks, Chairperson. I'm just reminded that, because the RRMs are under review, and the team last week had a engagement with the stakeholders, just to stress to the team the importance of incorporating all such issues that will emanate from stakeholders, as well as the challenges like you have highlighted, Chairperson, to ensure that we do really have an improvement, and we were able to serve our maybe in inverted commas clients well, and as much as possible when necessary there's a reduction in regulatory burden. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Babu Mahlangu, you may come in with your responses, or any member of your team can come in. But starting with you.
Thank you, CEO. I will respond, and then for those that I might not have covered, I'll request management to support. So I can confirm, CEO, that the engagement letter was successfully concluded because the RFRs cannot be submitted without the successful conclusion of the engagement letter. And then to Mr. Gumede's question, the tariff under Table 1 is for the Cape Town airport, and those are the petroleum products which have been approved in the operating licensed. But I must indicate that currently the technical team is assessing BPSA tariff application, as these tariffs are older and they are considered outdated, even though they are valid. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gumede, I take it you are answered satisfactorily. Otherwise, we may take some of the issues of improvements that you may have for the team offline. On that note, members, may I then request that we go to the recommendation on this particular submission. They are on the green stamped. Also, I'm looking down. Sorry,
yeah,
Mr.
I've raised my hand.
Okay, sorry.
I just raised my hand to say that the team should amend Table 1 accordingly to be specific with regard to Cape Town, so that the question is adequately addressed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mkhize. On that note, members, subject to that enhancement of Table 1, the recommendations are that the REC notes the regulatory financial reports or the regulatory financial reports of BPSA for the period 1 January 2022 to 31 December 2022, which are submitted in compliance with the requirements of the RRM's Volume 1. By show of hand, members, can I get an indication that you are supporting the noting as recommended under paragraph 56 of page 12, subject to the enhancement of that Table 1? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Gumede. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also do support. And that was the last item we had in our open session of our REC meeting number 361. Let me thank everyone, particularly our stakeholders that have joined us in this particular meeting. We will then take our meeting as closed, and then we will move on to our closed session. And on that note, may I request